10,000 to call. There's the call. There's 910.
Oh,
Are you kidding me? Do you believe in miracles?
The game of poker in general is not known for epic comeback stories, unlike other games like football, baseball, or basketball. However, what Phil Galfond managed to accomplish in 2020 may have topped the charts or at least be close to it. After comparing the odds in database with some of the biggest comebacks across every professional league, this is, at the very least, one of the most unlikely and greatest comebacks in poker and sports history. Phil Galfond started taking poker seriously while attending college about 15 years ago. Two $50 online deposits were all it took for him to work his way to being considered one of the greatest no-limit Texas Hold'em and pot limit Omaha players of all time. In February of 2013, Phil Galfond's all-time online earnings on full tilt poker surpassed $10 million. An innovator as well, Phil founded Run It Once Poker with the goal of keeping the online poker dream alive. A foundational part of his vision was making high-stakes poker battles public for everyone to witness again. Hence began the Phil Galfond Challenge. The first of these was a 25,000-hand PLO match that began in January of 2020 against an online regular named Venividi. Whichever player was profitable over the course of 25,000 hands would be deemed the winner. To add to the intrigue, Phil and Venividi agreed to a side bet on top of the actual money won or lost in the 25,000-hand battle. Phil risked 200,000 euros to Venividi's 100,000 euros that he would end up the profitable player at the end of the match. From a storytelling perspective, the first match had it all: a hero, a villain, and hundreds and thousands of euros hanging in the balance. The ostensible obstacles of ring rust for Phil Galfond to overcome and a mountain of loss to climb was reminiscent of a Rocky movie. It started on January 22, 2020, and it could not have been a worse start for Phil Galfond. After 7 sessions of play, Phil Galfond was stuck 380,000 euros to the online mystery grinder Venividi. They had played 4,760 hands of a planned 25,000 hands at 100-200 PLO. Despite the horrific results, Phil remained at least a little upbeat. "Even if I am a significant underdog, it's a pretty improbable run," he said after his 6th session. "I shouldn't be losing that much per hand even if I'm outclassed badly." He reported on Twitter, "The chances of such a rough run are in the ballpark of 5% likelihood," showing a graph of the damage thus far. In another tweet, he acknowledged victory is unlikely despite the challenge being less than 20% finished. He said his new goal was to simply win the hands going forward. However, Week 2 had the same story as Week 1. After a 380,000 euro loss on Week 1, Galfond sunk even lower to a loss of 570,000 euros after Week 2. With almost 7,500 hands played and the challenge being over almost 30%, Galfond was set to lose an estimated 2 million euros by the end of the match. After 15 days and almost 10,000 hands played, Phil Galfond had just won 1 session and was down over 900,000 euros, and at this rate, he was set to lose about 2.5 million euros. To put this into context, PokerShares, a licensed and regulated website outside the United States that offers people's prices to pick winners of poker tournaments and political events, even stopped offering odds on Phil Galfond winning the challenge at this point. PokerShares founder Mike McDonald said, "After day 13 of the Galfond challenge, we had him at 25-1 when he was down about 750,000 euros. I don't think we even had him available to bet on once he went over the 900,000 euro mark, but it's likely he would have been at 35-1 if we did." A price of 35-1 implies a 2.8% win probability, or rather, Galfond would need to win the challenge 2.8% of the time for a 35-1 wager on him to break even. Galfond decided to step away from the match for a couple of weeks, a move that cost him a 3,000 euro penalty per day. Still, he believed it was the right choice and said, "I really did believe that I said had an edge and could win over the 15,000 remaining hands and make a partial comeback." He also added, "I went into the match pretty confident and it was pretty disappointing to start out the way it did. I took the break to think everything through. There was a little bit of pride involved given that I really felt I could beat him over time and I wanted to prove that mostly to myself." The break certainly worked for Phil Galfond. In arguably the most crucial session of the entire match, he cut into the deficit to the tune of 183,000 euros in a single day. Galfond's hot run continued, as despite one large losing session of 88,000 euros, he recovered half of his peak losses to be down just south of 500,000 euros after 15,864 hands. With almost 40% hands still left to go, fans of Phil Galfond now believed that a comeback was not entirely impossible. Just the 600,000 euro swing in Galfond's favor evidently weighed on Venividi enough to make him request a break and be willing to pay the 3,000 euro penalty per day. Galfond then booked 2 more sizable wins out of 3 sessions, losing small in the other one. On April 2nd, something magical happened. Phil Galfond recovered from his 900,000 euro deficit and was in the lead midway through what was looking like a monster session.
10,000 to call. There's the call. There's 910. Phil
Yep.
Galfond is in the green, everybody. Are you kidding me? Do you believe in miracles? Phil Galfond is in the green. Go buy yourself new speakers. You gotta be kidding me, baby. Green.
Venividi would ultimately rally and get back into the lead, but still took a 6-figure loss. They broke even over the next 2 sessions. With just 3,500 hands left for the challenge to end, only 2 buy-ins separated Galfond and Venividi. Coming into session number 39 and the final session of the showdown, Galfond was down only 8,171 euros with 24,302 hands played and just 698 remaining. The 2 poker combatants kicked off on the morning of Sunday, April 12, 2020. The odds for the final match were Phil Galfond 1.83 to Venividi at 2.04. This indicated that Galfond had the highest probability to win according to online bookies. The 2 players had a complex metagame to consider, with the finite amount of hands to be played impacting their approach. Phil was able to take the lead early in the session, but fell behind again midway through the day. There were multiple points in the final day's action that Venividi came within a few $1,000s of being able to mathematically secure a victory by folding every remaining hand. The 2 players took a short break with 243 hands remaining. At that time, Venividi held a 30,910 euro lead and was incredibly close to sealing the deal, as a 36,450 euro advantage at that point would make it possible to fold to victory. Phil was on the verge of defeat, and his wife Farah took to Twitter around the time to share her fears about how things stood. Venividi appeared to adopt a defensive strategy as the end of the challenge drew nearer, trying to protect the lead with the end in sight. The shift in approach for the normally aggressive player opened the door for Phil Galfond to methodically claw his way back into contention. By the time the 2 players took a short break with just 97 hands remaining, Galfond was down only 6,307 euros. Play resumed with just 1 table in action as opposed to the typical 2, a shift that was agreed upon ahead of time by competitors for the final 100 hands or so. In the first 24 hands of the single table action, Phil was able to string together a few hands, winning enough small pots to take a slight lead before the decisive hand of the match was dealt. The 24,927th hand of the match began with Galfond raising to 600 euros pre-flop, holding Queen 10 10-8, and flopped to max wrap with an open-ended straight flush draw on Jack 9-4. Galfond bet the pot for 1,200 euros and Venividi called. With the pot at 3,600 now, the turn 4 of diamonds gave him a weak flush draw on a paired board. Galfond wagered half pot of 1,800 and was called, but the river 10 of spades was gin. It gave Galfond full house with 10s full of 4s, and he smashed the pot button once again, this time for 7,200. Venividi called with an under full house, and with that pot, Galfond took a lead of more than 12,300 and was able to run to victory by folding each and every hand for the remainder of the match.
He calls this in his...
He calls.
There's the call. Bill's got. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
River's the full house. 10's full. That might be it, ladies and gentlemen. That might have been the hand. I was too shell-shocked to even make the call.
The 2 took a brief break to confirm that fact before completing the formality. Venividi won the last 73 hands, but ultimately ended up losing by just over 7 big blinds after 25,000 hands played. When asked about his level of play on day 39 and if he brought his A game, Galfond responded with B+. There was a lot of weird adjustments, and he doubted that if both of them played perfectly. He said this was definitely the weirdest he had ever played. Poker is a zero-sum game. For every winner, there is a loser and vice versa. While the poker world celebrated Galfond's achievement, many pros tipped their hats to Venividi. The maximum buy-in in this game was 20,000 euros, and Galfond was down over 45 buy-ins, about 40% of the way through the competition. To complete the comeback just minutes before the end of the month-long match on the final day was about as dramatic as poker can get away from a World Series of Poker final table, with over 26,000 people watching live on Twitch. It shows that while poker may not be in its heyday anymore because of things like solver software and uninteresting game theory optimal decisions, there are still plenty of people that love the game. It was a brief moment in poker's history where one of the game's true champions captured lightning in a bottle to mount an impossible comeback towards a victory that would further cement his already stellar legacy. The best part of this match may have been the reaction of Phil's wife when the final hand was played. This video is powered by Bluff the Spot, the best place to learn how to win at poker from actual high-stake coaches like MMA Sherdog. Check the link in the description. And if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.